Welcome everyone to this presentation on some very exciting technology. We're delighted to share with you because it's having such amazing effects, such profound effects for people. So we're delighted to share about our experience with it and let you know a little bit about this and the opportunity it provides for those that are interested in that too. I'm going to take the second part of the presentation. My name's Adrian. I'm calling in from a small town in Devon called Totnes in England. Got a background in bookkeeping and accounting, politics, and natural therapies, complementary healing. And yeah, very excited by this technology, which has come into my life a couple of years ago. And I'm going to hand over for the first part to Noori. Would you like to introduce yourself, Noori?
Yes, good afternoon and welcome everybody. My name is Noori Siddiqui, and I've been a seasoned radio presenter on health for about 20 years, besides being an emotional stress therapist, nutritionist, and also built a successful online health company specializing in bone and joint health. And why that is so important is that when I reached the age of 60, I suddenly found that the nutrients that I was taking weren't working very well. And this is where I came across a life wave eventually at the age of 64, only to discover that if you have turned 60, then it's very likely that most of your stem cells are no longer active and have become dormant. So having reached a ripe old age of 60, I then found that by 64, the absorption of my nutrients and the body's ability to repair itself was highly compromised. And it got worse from there because I developed psoriasis on the back of my skull, which was weeping and blistering. I got incredible painful frozen shoulder. Anybody who's had frozen shoulder will know what I'm talking about. I went on to discover that has much to do with menopause, much to my dismay. And it also is linked to chronic neck pain alongside the frozen shoulder. So that would also wake me up at night and be very, very disturbing for me because I was just getting used to living in pain. And then I realized and I found out that over 6.5 million people in South Africa alone wake up to take a painkiller every morning. And I'd become passionate in my life about helping people to live pain-free. And now I found myself living with pain. So Merle Westcott, who was a colleague of mine, a nutritionist, a health professional, also phoned me. I think I'd known her about 5 or 6 years. And she called me one day and she said, Noori, you've got to hear about these patches. You've got to try these patches. These patches are amazing. And I'm like, okay, what is she on? Because she sounded so enthusiastic. And I'm thinking, okay, so tell me more. So she sent me some information and I did analysis paralysis. I think I researched them for about 9 months, thinking to myself every day, how can a patch do anything? What can a patch possibly do? That doesn't make any sense because I'm a nutritionist and you have to put things in the body to make them better. You don't stick a patch on. But 9 months later, when I actually stuck the X39 on, 3 days later, my psoriasis started drying up. 2 days later, I noticed my frozen shoulder was much better and my neck pain. And I'd also had chronic brain fog and chronic fatigue. I don't know if any of you are listening that have had brain fog before, but it's horrible because you have a lot of senior citizens moments and you forget where everything is. You don't complete your sentences properly, and it's very disorientating. So that I suddenly was alertness of mind, memory focus, concentration. And then, of course, I got my energy back. I was used to waking up tired, going to bed tired. I remember once, and this is a confession, I was working out in the gym and I fell asleep on a piece of equipment. I can't believe I said that. That's how tired I used to get. So now I'm wide awake and my workouts are much better and I get better results because my stem cells are working. And so my endurance, my recovery, my muscle strength, my muscle tone, And I've just turned 66 last October, and every birthday is more of a celebration than the last one. And I'm very happy that my stem cells are wide awake because it means I'm growing younger while I'm growing older. So instead of growing old disgracefully, I think I can grow old gracefully thanks to X39. So X39 is the patch that we're talking about, and we're now going to start with a presentation to tell you more about it because it's fascinating. So we're going to start with the video. Thank you, Adrian.
I just want to check. I may not have ticked a particular box. Was there any sound coming through? No, I thought I might have done that wrong. Let me try again.
Oh, that's fine.
Yes, I've got to click that. No, the wrong one.
Sun that feeds our world. Everything we're made of contains light. From the sun that feeds our world to the energy that flows within us. With LifeWave X39, we've found a way to put that light to work. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHK-Cu, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality. By gently stimulating the skin with light, our non-invasive, non-transdermal X39 patches help you conquer your active lifestyle and pave a new way to vibrant health. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. It all starts with your body and a little help from light. Place one LifeWave X39 patch on the body. Apply the patch to clean, dry skin in the morning. Patches may be worn for up to 12 hours before discarding. Keep well hydrated while using this product. Harness your natural potential. Reclaim youthful energy. Live long, live well, live young with LifeWave X39. Be the light. LifeWave.
So we're now going to see more about this miracle patch that when you put on the is able to elevate, activate, and regenerate. So what we're able to actually appreciate is that the body needs to rejuvenate all of the time, to repair all of the time, and to be able to address any incidences like you suddenly have a wound, you suddenly have an accident, maybe there's a fracture. So whatever the case is, the body needs to be able to be on alert all the time, like the paramedics ready to come and fix something or to help and facilitate healing. So what we're looking at here is the patch being able to elevate, activate, and regenerate each of your 1 trillion stem cells. So Dr. David Smith is actually the scientist behind all of this, and he's the inventor and the CEO. And this in itself is very fascinating because I haven't come across an inventor also being a CEO, especially of a company of this magnitude. And besides all of that, he's one of a few men on the planet that actually has up to 250 patents. And this is a remarkable feat because it means that anything that we're talking about has been proven scientifically. And when you patent something, you have to prove that it does what it says it does. So being a scientist and inventor, he went on to specialize in age reversal. from 2008. And LifeWave today is actually 21 years old. So this isn't something that happened yesterday or a few years ago. This is long in the making and has been tried and tested. And one aspect is that it took 10 years and $4.4 million to bring X39 to market. So the focus here is on stem cell research and age reversal. So as a result, we're not looking at disease treatment or therapy. We're looking at the aspects of reversing aging in the body to facilitate it to heal itself as it did when it was much younger and return the body to its natural state. So what is a patent and why is this called a technology? Well, wouldn't you think that this should be a health and wellness company or it should be classified as a product? No, it's neither. It's actually a technology, and the FDA have classified this as a Class 1 medical device for general wellness because there's no ingredient going into the body and it's non-transdermal with no side effects and no contraindications. And in order to be patented, then it had to be compliant with one of these many things, at least. According to at least one embodiment of the invention, which may be worn anywhere on the human body, that causes a beneficial effect by providing phototherapy to the human body. Phototherapy, we're going to talk a bit more about in a moment because that's a fascinating subject. As a result of elevating copper peptides, we talk about more of those, and including activation of stem cells, because most of them have deactivated by the age of 60 and 50% by the age of 30. Improvement in energy, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, it's been proven to give you energy, to elevate antioxidants, to have a reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvement in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improvement in wound healing. Now, that is all quite unbelievable and quite remarkable. So therefore, it had to be proven and patented with the clinical trials to go behind that, of which LifeWave has over 90 clinical trials and up to 250 patents. Next slide. So how does X39 work? Well, it's a proprietary form of phototherapy. So what is phototherapy? Well, it's actually the infrared light that we all have in our bodies. So when you see the newborn baby in the incubator put into a red light, that's to enable the stem cells to be stimulated so that the infrared light can facilitate the growth of the baby to its normal size. So this red light is innate in us, and ordinarily we give off this light, but the difference here is that when we use the patented nanocrystal technology found in the X39 patch, it enables that phototherapy light to be reflected back into the body instead of being dissipated and lost. So when it's reflected back into the body, this allows activation. And the activation that takes place is the elevation of copper peptides, specifically AHK and GHK. So with the activation of the phototherapy light, elevating and activating the copper peptides, no drugs or chemicals or stimulants are used to do this. It's purely reflecting light to activate, and it's non-transdermal and non-invasive. That means that no ingredient goes into the body, therefore classifying it as a technology and not a product. So the FDA classified it as a medical device and did not need to classify it or approve it. So the FDA did not need to approve this because nothing is going into the body. It's non-transdermal and non-invasive. Next slide, please. So what are the benefits of X39? Well, we want to achieve optimal health, a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So what does that mean? Do you know anybody who's physically healthy, mentally healthy, and has a good emotional state of well-being? Very hard to find today because people are experiencing all sorts of different challenges that they find themselves unable to cope with. So let's have a look at more of what that might mean. And if we look at, for example, being optimally well, what does optimally well mean today? Well, we could be horizontally ill, for example. That would be we're lying flat on our back, or we're vertically ill, taking medication but functioning anyway, or we could be subwell, which means that we just don't feel right and we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. But what would it feel like to be optimally well? And why do we have optimum health and wellness? So your health is more to do with your physical and mental well-being, whereas your wellness is more to do with your vitality and your emotional well-being. So we want to balance all of that and achieve a state of homeostasis, which is natural balance in the body. So as a health professional, I also had the opportunity to share this with a number of people, not only that were sick and tired of being sick and tired, but also wanted to improve their exercise performance, that wanted a faster rate of recovery after they had been exercising, that wanted a faster rate of recovery if they were injured during exercise. So all of these have been proven with great results, to the point that in 2004, the USA Olympic swimming team actually won the Olympic gold medal using the first patch ever released, which was the energy enhancer. And that is actually a remarkable feat, of which when the trials were first done with the swimming team, that they found in the first week, over 90% of them were breaking their own records in their trials and went on to win the Olympic gold medal in 2004. Improvement in strength is very, very important. Today, mobility is a huge challenge, and we find that we're either full of aches and pains, or we're struggling to get off a chair, or we're complaining up and down stairs. And so now the new trend is to put lifts into multi-story homes, because people simply can't walk up down the stairs anymore. And what is really going on? Because that is not the case in the last generation or the one before. If we are looking at the cartilage, the bone, the joint, the tendon, the strength in the body itself, all of those aspects very, very important. Improvement in stamina, that's also to our strength, to our energy, to our healthy energy flow, not spurts of energy, or sometimes healthy, sometimes not healthy, but to have a consistent level of energy flow, so that we can do the things that we dream about, do the things that we think about, be creative in our own lives and fulfill our tasks, and achieve our goals. So there are no drugs or stimulants in all of this, and yet we have the opportunity to be optimally healthy and well. Next slide. X39's long-term results. To have a look at this in more detail, go to thisisit.info.com. And if you invited somebody here today that's not here and they want to know about it, invite them to thisisit.info.com just to see an overview of what is more interesting to them with regard to perhaps the phototherapy light, to what doctors have to say. Maybe they're a doctor and they want to know more information. So you will find selective videos and information on that site, from the clinical trials to testimonials, to information at the bottom of the website that doctors are more interested in, and also doctors giving testimonials of their own experience. Now, if you go into the studies and the research behind all of this, which is remarkable, it has been proven that 4,192 genes begin to reset within the first few days. And this is really an never to be heard of before result, because as far as I'm aware as a health professional, nobody even managed to reset 2 genes before this, the invention of the X39. So to say that 4,192 genes begin to reset in the first few days is something not to be overlooked, and certainly something to be looked into more. Now, for the brain to become balanced and make that statement is also something not to be overlooked, because today we find that if we do topography maps of people's brains, very often they have inflammation on the brain. And this could otherwise be diagnosed as ADHD, autism, poor memory concentration, the result of an injury after an accident, or that there's dementia, there's memory loss, there's bipolar, all kinds of different conditions. So we find that when the X39 is worn, over time, there's a distinct reduction in inflammation of the brain and an improvement in cognition and the way that the neurons and the neural nets talk to each other and connect with each other. So this means that we have less brain fog, better memory focus and concentration, and we can optimize our ability to complete tasks. Now, collagen increase is extremely important. Did you know that we have over 28 types of collagen in the body? Most people thought there was maybe type 1, 2, and 3 at the most. But from your eyes to your heart to the structure in your body, your heart is over 35% collagen. The cornea and the retina in your eyes especially is mostly made of collagen. And so keeping the body strong, the muscles, the cartilage, the tendons, that ability to feel strong when you're walking up and down those stairs or getting off a chair, or even wrinkles, the quality of your hair and your nails. So collagen is the structure in the body. 30% of the body is protein, and up to 90% of that protein is made of collagen. So if you're not increasing your production of collagen, it's almost like watching the scaffolding fall apart. That's not something that you want to happen to you or anybody that you love. Did you know that when it comes to broken hips, that 70% of people over the age of 70 actually die of a broken hip? 70% of people that break the hip over the age of 70 actually die of a broken hip. That is not a statistic that we want to hear. That is our mothers and our grandmothers, and it could be us tomorrow. So we need to take these things very, very seriously. I was dealing with a particular case where a lady went in for a shoulder operation. And I presume that her bone density wasn't checked properly, because when they started to drill the bone, it actually crumbled. That's not something you want to even imagine, let alone happen to you. So collagen, extremely important. Now, the heart has been proven with the X39 over long-term results to actually reverse the age of the heart. And there's a very interesting clinical trial where 15 heart patients were given X39 to use over a period of 6 months. And in that time, it was proven that their hearts had reversed their age by 8.5 years. 14 out of 15 heart patients had hearts 8.5 years younger. So this is not anti-aging, it's age reversal. And David Smith, CEO and inventor of X39, reminds us that this is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. We're simply activating dormant stem cells. Next slide, please. So how do we wear the X39? Well, we wear it for 12 hours on in daylight to elevate, activate, and regenerate. So the phototherapy light is working with the daylight, and then we remove it at night for the body to rest, repair, and rejuvenate. And this is another reason why it's also so important for us to sleep well, because while we are sleeping, we are healing. So when you get told to go to hospital, most of the reason is for you to actually have a rest and not do anything else. So when you go to bed at night, make sure you're having a good night's sleep. And if you don't sleep well, you're going to find that your sleep improves with the long-term use of X39. Next slide, please. So just to remind you of the this is it info.com. If you're interested in patents, if you're interested in clinical trials, if you're interested in what doctors have to say, if you're a doctor and you want to know more, then you will find relevant information. You'll see at the top of the page, it says patents and clinical trials, and it also says testimonials. So if you want to know more about the results that other people have got, you'll find a library of them on this site. So thank you, Adrian. I'll hand back to you.
Okay, we've got some time to hear about some personal experiences with the patches, and I'd be interested to hear who would like to share.
Well, I know we've got Yolanda with us today. Yolanda, would you like to kickstart?
Hi everyone, I'm Yolandi from Lydenburg in Mpumalanga. I was introduced to the patches in March, but for 6 months we did nothing. When we were in a desperate situation in October, we decided to invest in the patches. My husband started wearing, he was the ultimate reason why we started using the patches. Within 5 days, he felt amazing, had more energy, the pain and inflammation in his hip due to being diagnosed with Purpose disease at the age of 5 and walking with pain for 38 years. He had his first hip replacement at the age of 19, 20 years after again. But that's not all. When you ask my husband what he can testify about me is for giving extra night, giving my life back. No more depressed, no more down. I'm eager to get up in the mornings and get dressed and talk to people and help people, paying the opportunity of the X39 patches forward. And that's not all. We also have a 8-year-old autistic little boy. For 5 years, he was nonverbal. And then his sentence structure was very broken up until we started patching him as well with the X39. He's even reading now, not just talking better. So he's even reading now. So we are super grateful for these patches and changing our lives, giving us our lives back. And we are really looking forward to the future. Other than that, when I used to scroll through social media unintentionally, just scrolling, getting time passed, I decided to also make use of the opportunity to pay this forward and tell more people and help more people, because I think we really have something big and beautiful here to help change people's lives and paying the opportunity forward. And with that, also creating an extra income for myself. So I'm really grateful. Thank you for the opportunity to let me share.
Thank you for doing
Wonderful.
so.
Wow, Yolanda, that's amazing. I'm so fascinated to hear about your autistic child as well, because I know in America, especially, they have up to one in 4 boys that actually become autistic after a vaccine. And we do have some amazing testimonials for autistic children, and even just to calm their nervous system down, for them to be less stressed. A lot of them do head banging and all sorts of things, which is self-harming. So just to calm all of that down is really, really remarkable. So keep up the good work, Yolanda. And we need to shout this from the rooftops.
Nina, thank you for raising your hand. Would you like to share?
Yeah. So, Yolande, I've heard your story a couple of times, but I've never heard you talk about your son. So that's amazing. That's really wonderful. So I've been patching for 2 years, and I started because of gut inflammation, which has mostly cleared up. I might have the occasional flare, but it's pretty good these days. The first thing that happened was, I think Yolanda and Noori both said about sleeping better. That was the first thing that happened for me, was that the quality of my sleep changed. And I get up in the morning. I can't, as soon as I'm awake, I'm up, and often cleaning or doing something, walking, whatever, but quite active. And then the third big thing that happened initially was that my brain function improved hugely. And one of my biggest problems with it was that I would forget simple words in the middle of a sentence. So my speech had become quite hesitant. And also, since COVID, for a couple of years, I quite often felt disoriented, and especially when I was driving, and that cleared up. That's as well as a lot of memory things. And I was actually getting quite worried about my memory, especially because I know quite a few people, clients and friends, who have dementia, and it's not a pretty road to walk down. So that was fantastic. And then I've continued to do well. Recently, I've had some health setbacks, and I don't know if this is a very late retracing, detoxing situation. But in spite of that, I still feel energetic. I'm still very confident about the patches, and I also know that my stem cells are working because the the roots of my hair, I don't know if you can see, but they've gone back to their original color. And also, I couldn't, for a couple of years, I couldn't walk barefoot on the grass because my feet would crack so badly. And my skin, I wouldn't say it's altogether smooth, but at least it doesn't crack anymore. So, and it's a great joy for me to walk barefoot. I love it. Very South African. We even see kids going to school barefoot still. So those are some of the bigger things that have happened. And yeah, and it's been quite interesting noticing that I have taken a bit of a dive, but at the same time, I'm doing very well.
Thank you very
I
much,
think
Nina.
like the others,
It's very interesting.
some of my downline have had amazing results. The most recent one is somebody who's had rheumatoid arthritis for years, couldn't walk properly, and I saw her yesterday. She hasn't taken a painkiller from the third day that she started using the patches. So
Yeah.
Wonderful.
yeah, it's a wonderful
Nina, thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
Okay, who
Yes,
else would like to share?
I think I met Nina, I just wanted to say, I think I met you more than a year ago, and you're looking younger and more vibrant. So I'm noticing that from having met you a while back. But one thing that's really interesting is that you'll find that there's all sorts of underlying issues that are being addressed. And so things can reoccur and then calm down and can reoccur and calm down. But it's a part of the genes and the DNA and lots of other things resetting themselves. So we've got 1 trillion stem cells that are busy waking up, and they've all got work to do, and they're very busy working. So don't worry, reconstruction is under control. Thank you.
So who else would like to share? Anyone else? Okay, well,
sorry, Malcolm wants to share, but he's having trouble unmuting. You're unmuted now, Malcolm.
no, still muted.
Oh, you're still muted?
Hmm.
Oh, okay. I'll try and help him get his
Okay.
Thing
Well,
on.
I'll speak in the meantime, and you can help Malcolm. So, just very briefly, I remember very clearly that I patched on a Friday with X39. I had been given advice by Merle, so I heard about it from Merle as well, who is a colleague, a life alignment colleague of mine. And in a Zoom call with other colleagues, she mentioned that she'd been using these light therapy patches for 11 months and been getting amazing results. So I thought, that's interesting. I think I should check that out. And a dear friend of mine who was on the call as well, Arlene from Australia, she got the feeling, she got the guidance that this is something that she needed to pursue and did so. And she gave me a nudge to say, Adrian, this is really good. So we both got involved. We hadn't been patched, but we had confidence in what these patches were doing. And Merle did say to me, because I got all the patches, I got the biggest pack. I wanted to try the different patches and be a little mini warehouse and be able to lend them out and do things, patch people. And Merle did say, well, Adrian, just get a bit of experience with X39 first. Whether that's a month or a couple of weeks or at least a week. And it's like, oh, okay. So I did that, and I'm glad I took that advice, because if one is putting on lots of patches to start with and there are benefits, then you can't discern what's doing it. What's doing what. Not that you necessarily need to. Sometimes people are in pain. just get the patches on, worry about that later. But I wasn't in pain, and I was quite happy to just try X39 for a week, which I did. And the second day, I woke up on the Saturday morning and I thought, I don't feel that hungry. Perhaps I'll do a water fast today. I've done very little fasting in my life, so this is quite an unusual thought process. I mean, obviously aware of it because I've been in the complementary field, but never done much applying of it. Um, so I did a water fast day, no problem at all. The next day I was out early and I had a client to see, and mid-morning on the Sunday I still hadn't eaten, and I thought, well, maybe it's the second day of water fasting. Shall I carry on? And I did. So um I did an at-home 60-hour at-home water fast from after supper on day one of patching with X39 to before breakfast on day four. And I'd never done that in my life before. So a completely unique experience. And my perception of what was going on was that the higher aspect of myself was more present. And I was making better decisions for my well-being rather than being driven by cravings, which had been a significant issue for me in my life. So I'm grateful that I had that experience. I caught it, I felt it, and I was able to attribute it to X39 because I started with that. And because I then wanted to share this with others and did so straight away, I had very quickly, I was getting similar positive feedback from people that you've been hearing about, including some people who had a similar experience. And not everybody will catch this, but some of us have. And somebody said, oh, I felt higher consciousness was more present. Somebody else put, on the second day, she came to see me for a session of life alignment and said, well, in a day and a half, I have noticed something. I've noticed more stillness. Somebody else, an elder gentleman, put on X39. He said within 2 hours, it suddenly kicked in, more energy and groundedness. Arlene reported somebody in Australia put on a patch and she said she could feel the additional life force. So there's something very special going on with the patches. They are working at different levels. And I'll share one or two things. I'm quite proud of this because this is the thing. There's so much suffering in the world. People we know would like to know about this. Not everybody's going to be open and receptive, or at least initially, but there will be some who are and will try it out and will be extremely grateful because this is changing lives profoundly. So I met up with a friend who lives in and runs a beautiful retreat center in the Algarve. I'd done some work there in the past. And when I met him for lunch in April, he was imminently going to have a back operation for pain that he could not resolve. Now, to give you the picture, this is a man he does meditation, he facilitates meditation retreats, he facilitates detox retreats. He's got a good diet and lifestyle. He knows lots of therapists, and still he could not get his health to where he wanted it to be. He was suffering. And so he was open, and this is very common. This is extremely common in the world today. People trying the medical route, exhausting it, trying different alternatives, and we're on our own because the system isn't wanting us to be well, sadly. So he was open to the patches. I patched him at lunch. I gave him a few to last until his pack arrived. And within 4 or 5 days, so it might even been before his pack arrived, I got a message from him saying, my back pain has substantially reduced. And exactly 4 weeks to the day I patched him at lunch, I got another message from him saying, Adrian, my pain has almost completely gone and I've cancelled the back operation. So it's another life profoundly changed. And so it goes. Now, one thing to understand is that the stem cells, what the patches are doing, elevating this copper-based peptide, that's the signal the body is getting. This is the genius of David, recognizing that there was a way into the control mechanisms of the body through frequency and what frequency to use to get what benefit. And so wearing the X39, there's an elevation in the peptide that governs stem cell activity. So we're upregulating our stem cell mediated innate healing system. And so the body has its own innate intelligence and priority about what needs to be healed, in what order. And so we see benefits with all sorts of issues. Okay. because everybody's body's different and it's got different priorities, and the patch gets to work, the stem cells increase their activity because of the elevation of the peptide, and wonderful things are happening. So there we go. We've just given you a flavor that wonderful things are happening, different things, different conditions. And I think it's also worth reflecting on one of the slides that mentioned about the strength and, more energy, etc., because there is a perception that these patches are only for people who are unwell, and there's lots of us who could improve our well-being in different ways. But they're also fabulous for people who want to stay well, are well and stay well. Athletes, people who do dancers. It's like people who for whom performance is important. We find that people wearing the patches, as Noori said about the elite swimmers, it helps to elevate performance. And when you're doing any kind of competition, for example, then any little edge that you can get could be the difference in winning, losing, or your position. And so the patches are for everybody, everybody that we can help understand the benefits of having a high level of activity of stem cells and what that does for us in the long term. Now, people have been patching in Merle's team now for 3 years or so. And so what we're finding is that the longer people patch, the more benefits are occurring. And that's wonderful to see. So I'm going to go back to sharing the slides. Oh, yes, Charlie, you'd like to say something or share something?
Well, I just raised my hand for Malcolm.
Yes, thank you for reminding me.
Thank you.
Well, Malcolm is still muted at the moment, but maybe Malcolm has worked it out.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Hello, well, my name is Malcolm. I've come to the patches through Charlie, through my dear wife.
We've got a bit of echo. Perhaps, Charlie, you could turn your sound off just for a bit.
It's off. It's off.
Yeah, but that's your listening, but it's playing out in your two computers, your end.
I'm gonna close my computer and I'll listen from his.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Great.
Thank you, everybody.
That's
okay. Okay. So I've only been on the patches for about 2 weeks, but I've already had benefits because something I never got from the NHS was a reduction in my interruptions at night.
Mm-hmm.
And now that has gone down from 5 or 6 times a night to 3 since I took the patches. So that's an instant benefit for me. So obviously I'm very encouraged and I'm hoping for more. But I do have a couple of questions. One.
Great. Well, just hold those, Malcolm, because I will pause in a moment and take some questions on the patches. So just hold those for the moment, and I'll come back to you. So thank you for that initial sharing, and I'll take your question shortly. And it just reminds me of somebody else that has helped in the team recently. I think some of you have heard this before, but an 82-year-old woman suffering with Parkinson's for many years, tremors, brain fog, unable to walk very much, and with a stick. And she was adamant she wanted more life and better quality of life. And despite reservations in the family that were very severe, she spent some money on patches, and we got patches sent to her. And within 2 days, her tremors ceased. Within 5 days, she was able to stroll for over an hour without the use of a stick. She was up and down 2 flights of stairs looking after the grandkids. On the 5th day, the grandkids asked her to make dalmadas, and she was able to do so, which involves rolling the vegetables, rice, whatever it is, into the vine leaves. She had the control and the manual dexterity to do it. In the afternoon of that 5th day, she went back to knitting, and she knitted perfectly without missing a stitch. The swelling went down, it came back up again, still some work to do. Brain fog has gone, more energy. So a life profoundly changed because somebody, a family friend, reached out to her, and she had the desire for more quality of life, and the patches have delivered. So it's a wonderful thing to share. and see the results of the sharing. So I'm going to go back to sharing a few more details from the slides that we were looking at. And one of the key points is, what do they cost? How do I get them? And here is a slide which is showing the retail channel. So the person that invited you to this call has a referral link. And if you were to get back to them and say, look, I'm interested, I'd like to get some, you can click on the link, click shop, and select X39, for example, and you're presented with three options. You're shown the retail price. The retail price is for the patches come in a sleeve. All LifeWave patches come in sleeves of 30. So with X39, it's 30-day supply. And the price is $149.95 US dollars plus tax in whatever country you are and a bit of shipping. And in the UK, there's also a handling fee. So to put this into context, you've heard about the results people are getting. I know people who've gone for stem cell injections, spent tens of thousands of whatever currency, 38,000. I met somebody in London who'd spent on stem cells with no significant benefit. So we have something here where the results are incomparable, and it's only costing $149.95 US dollars plus tax, shipping, and a bit of handling. And but that's not the end of it, because if you understand you may want to be on this for some time, LifeWave offers a subscription. They will happily send a sleeve to you monthly or two sleeves, however many you need for you and your family. And if you subscribe, which you can cancel, amend at any time, they give you not a 30% discount, but actually it's a third or 1/3 discount on the retail price. So a very substantial discount. And they also offer some after, I think it's with the 4th, 7th, and 11th, they send you 10 free sample patches. And if you're still subscribing after a year, you can get a free sleeve of regular patches from elsewhere in the range. So that's a wonderful option for those that know they want to be on it for some time. You can get 1/3 discount. There is also a third option, which is if you pay not a one-off, an annual $25 plus tax fee, you can become what's known as a preferred customer plus, and LifeWave will send 10 sample patches free to you with your X39 or whatever your order is every month. And that's an incredibly good value. And after 1 year, if you're still subscribing, they'll send you a free sleeve of regular patches from the range. So not X39 or X49, but one of all the others. So again, absolutely incredible value. So those are the retail options. I'm going to stop there just for a moment to take some questions on the patches, including Malcolm's, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to share about the opportunity, because many of us want to share this with others and are interested in broadening our income streams. And for some people, there may be a need to develop some extra income to be able to afford patches, because I know some people are struggling financially. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment, but we're just going to stop briefly to see if there are any questions relating to the patches.
I've unmuted you.
Oh, wrong slide again. Sorry about that. There we go. So we've covered the retail aspect, and I'm going to talk now some more about the opportunity to earn some additional income, which could be important in having a contribution towards patches. It is for some people. And there's those of us who are interested in earning some extra income and potentially changing the quality of our lives. And this is very exciting. So this is what we're going to speak about for the rest of this presentation. And there are a few things to consider relating to this. We are blessed that David Schmidt chose to distribute patches through networking. And it was actually his experience while he was doing TV testing of infomercials and talking to GNC stores in the States. That was, there were other plans for distribution, but what he realized is that there was through word of mouth, series of word of mouth introductions through different people actually led him to meet Richard Quick. And that coach of the elite women swimmers in the US at Stanford University. And it did change his thinking did change, and he realized that using word of mouth and networking was the way to go. And actually, if they'd gone into stores, they would have been more expensive. So now, networking, let's be upfront about it, does have a bad rap, does have a bad reputation, and there are reasons for that. But and I won't go into all of those. We can have a longer discussion about it. But essentially, networking done in a really good way facilitates the potential to earn residual income. And this is really like the holy grail. It's like you can do some work. It's a bit like being one of the top artists. You do something, you get paid over the years for the work you did before. That's the opportunity that networking can provide. Now, a few criteria are important to consider whether it's worth putting some time and effort into sharing this with others, i.e. sharing LifeWave. One is that in any aspect of business, new businesses are not around often. They don't last very long, may not be around in 3 years, and even less 5 years. And that's the same in the networking industry. So there are many that have come and gone. And we are blessed that LifeWave has had its 21st birthday in the autumn, last autumn. There were a couple of very difficult times early on, and LifeWave was able to get through them, and is well-run company. It's ethically run. It's very profitable. It's working to a 10-year business plan, and there's a very significant difference from LifeWave to most other companies, and that LifeWave is the vehicle that David Schmidt has created to bring his technology through to help humanity. So David has a total commitment to the company. He's not going to sell out. Culture isn't going to change. The quality of the product is not going to change. And he's totally committed to the networking channel. So this creation of a network of distribution for LifeWave technology, of which there's lots coming down the pipeline from those 200 odd patents that he's got and working on. So LifeWave is going to be incredibly important to more and more people as time goes on. And those of us who are having a role in creating the distribution network have the opportunity to be paid for residual income for the work that we've done in helping to create the network for distribution of LifeWave products. It's a very, very exciting opportunity. Now, for many years, LifeWave was doing a couple of tens of millions of turnover. But with the advent of X39, things changed because of the power of X39 and because people with networking experience saw what X39 was, realized what an opportunity LifeWave is, and got involved. And so that 2021 figure should be 150 million. So there's a big jump up to there in 2021. And then within a few years, 1 billion turnover. We think that might have been achieved last year. So tremendous growth. And it's a result of the power of X39 and networking experience in how to do networking in a good way. And when it is done in a good way, it is about sharing. It's very different from selling other things in a network channel where there is competition. It has led people to be too pushy sometimes in the past and lose friends. Here, we don't have to push. We don't sell in that sense. We gift people information and say, are you open to looking at this? It may help. And so it's a very different energy. And those that are opening to having a look we do introductions like this. So that's how it works. Here's confirmation of this. Businessforhome.org monitors the direct sales space. And for 2 years running, LifeWave has been ranked as the #1 company in the direct sales field for momentum. And that's quite unusual for a larger company in the space to be having this much momentum. That's very exceptional. And LifeWave is up to now the 23rd largest company in the direct sales space. And there's still so much growth ahead. It's very, very exciting. There's nobody, I'm in the UK, there's nobody in the upper echelons of rank within LifeWave in the UK and so many other countries around the world. Now, LifeWave is making waves. This is an award that came in not long ago, and it was for Stem Cell Innovation of the Year in 2025. So thousands of entrants to those awards, and LifeWave won for X39 in combination with a product called Cellergized Morning, which supplies nutrients that help the body to respond optimally to the wearing of the daytime patches. It's only available in the US at the moment, but it will be coming. Another important aspect in this is that I can tell from my experience, I've been involved in 5 different networking companies in the past, all related to the health field. And I haven't been successful in any of them, but I own that because I didn't persist. I could have been successful in any of them if I had persisted. So one of them is there motivation? Is there something that LifeWave can give you in terms of improving something in your life, quality of life? Many people come to LifeWave for better health and have amazing responses to the product and then feel that they want to, or they have a duty to share this with others. But for others, it may be wanting more family time, more security, more travel, less debt, and certainly networking as a path, a proven path to facilitating these. And there are some important differences with a conventional business and a LifeWave business, which is worth mentioning. Often with conventional business, there's a high startup cost. So there's capital at risk. There can be long hours, can be trial and error. And it's very different in LifeWave because there's a low startup cost. You essentially buy some patches that you want to use yourself. There's no capital at risk. In fact, there's a money-back guarantee for 30 days for brand partners. I didn't say earlier that for those choosing the customer option, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee on the first order. 30 days for first order for what we call brand partners, those choosing to share this with others. You make your own schedule in LifeWave and in networking generally. We have a company with a 21-year record, and we're not doing it on our own. We have support. And this is the beauty of networking when done in a good way. There is a lot of support. There is mentoring. There's lots of training. So there's a beautiful community to be involved in. And that's one of the key benefits of networking that people do perceive consistently, is that they love the community involved in networking. And it is very commensurate with, for those that might know the term, the Aquarian age. It's very collaborative. We help each other. So I think its time is coming, and that was borne out in a recent LifeWave conference where the advent of robotics and AI is going to mean millions of lost jobs, and these redundancies are already occurring throughout the world. And there's going to be huge numbers of people seeking extra income, looking for opportunities to create income and stabilize finances and create a better life for themselves and their families. And we have one of the most amazing solutions for that. In other words, networking, the future of networking is bright, and the heyday is coming because of this massive shift that's going to take place. in the working lives of people around the world. So we've got some problems mentioned on the left, some of which have been mentioned. Poor health and wellness is a massive issue out there. There are significant financial struggles in the world today. And there's also a market oversaturated with illegitimate products. So products that don't get results, and indeed fake products, including fake patches. So if you are interested, do get back to the person who invited you, because there are fake patches out there on reselling sites, and we don't want you to waste your money. We have solutions. These patches, as you heard, are helping people to achieve optimum health and wellness. We have a duplicatable business model. This is one of the advantages of networking, is that you're not on your own. As you introduce others that want to share this with others and develop some additional income, you're duplicating your efforts. It's not just you, but it could be you and 10 people. It could be you and 100 people helping to increase the size of your business and the turnover through the network you've helped to create, and therefore the residual income that's coming to you from the business. Very powerful, duplicatable business model. And we have a patented phototherapy technology that nobody else has. And there's another 14, 15 years to go on the X39 patent, with more technology coming down the pathway and to be released. So we have an incredible opportunity. I won't go into the detail of how you earn in LifeWave. There are 9 ways of earning in what's known as a compensation plan. That's the rules on how you get paid, how you can earn. But the overall nature is that you share this with others, find some others that want to do this, you build out a network. The more turnover is, the more products sold through the network you're helping to create, the bigger the compensation payments, rewards, or commissions from LifeWave. And one of those is a turnover-related bonus called Binary Bonus, and it's capped at $25,000 a week. There are people that are maxing that out on a Monday morning. It's a very nice place to be. So I'm not saying that you will get there, but everybody has the potential to get there. And there's a lot of help and support to get you going with this. And on that note, often there's financial challenges for those who are drawn to this. Part of it is people need to earn more money and maybe can't afford patches. And we have one of those ways of earning is a business launch bonus. We won't go into the details. We help you launch your business properly and help you reach out to people that you love and care about and may be keen to know about this for their health or for their wealth. If we help start your business well, then there's some extra income available for those that do so in the first 9 weeks of the business, and that can contribute to the cost of your patches. In fact, I helped somebody launch their business recently in week 2 after getting their patches, and they earned all their money back in that week and more. So they've essentially had a whole bunch of free patches. We can help you do that the same. And there's another one of the other 9 is called a mentor matching bonus. And as our network grows and people demonstrate, we help people launch their business successfully and grow. We have people that are doing well. We consider them team leaders. And at a certain point, this bonus kicks in, and it is uncapped. So this is where over time, really big incomes can be generated and residual incomes through this particular bonus, which is uncapped. As mentioned, it's a system that allows you to duplicate your efforts, which is really smart. So how do you get involved as a brand partner? We covered the retail option earlier. There are 4 packs available as enrollment kits with product. And one of them is a core pack. You can see the price there, $295 US. It'll be plus tax and shipping in the country you're in, and a bit of shipping. And so you can get 3 sleeves of X39 for this, and save a tiny amount on the wholesale price. So again, this is a 3rd discount off of wholesale and a $5 discount beyond, and you can save on shipping and handling by getting 3 in one go. And then as you go through the packs, you get more product and a bigger discount. So there's a fixed $65 discount plus tax in the advanced kit, which you can get up to 6 sleeves of X39. So it's good for patching a larger family or getting a business going, having some extra patches to lend out to people you want to start quickly. Now, I'm sure Charlie and Malcolm won't mind me mentioning this, but they got involved, got a pack initially as consumers. They were lent patches, I think, by Emily and Phil, who introduced them. And by the time their pack arrived, they'd already got benefits because Emily and Phil were able to lend some patches out, lend some sleeves of patches out to people they were introducing. So it does help with momentum if you have some extra sleeves available and some extra patches available to patch people with. The Advanced Plus help is an even bigger pack, so it will facilitate that even further. Up to 11 sleeves of X39 with $125 plus tax discount. And the Premium 20 sleeves of X39 with a $250 plus tax discount. So you come in where you feel you fit. There's also, for those who are really stretched, an opportunity to come in at $25 and get a sleeve of X39. But we recommend these packs so that you have some to use for yourself and lend out or sell on or utilize to patch people with. We do recommend getting on subscription as well, so that you don't run out. And you only ever have to buy two sleeves of two sleeves of patches to unlock all the potential commissions in the plan. So it's not like in many businesses in the networking field in the past where you had to buy hundreds of pounds or dollars of products, sell them on every month. We don't even have to handle the product and sell them. We just share our link and people buy from LifeWave, and LifeWave ships the product direct to our customers. But we can lend them out to get them so they don't have to wait, or give them a few so they can be benefiting straight away. So that gives you an idea. And there is another website that is provided by our upline. Steve and Gina Merritt founded the This Is It team about 3.5 years ago. It's only less than 4 years ago. They are the biggest earners in LifeWave. Got the biggest team with 65% of the turnover, fastest growing, and we're blessed to be in their team. And they provide some resources to help us do this and share it. And one of them is the This Is It info, which has been mentioned. This is info.com for more information about X39. But there's also this website if you're interested in the business side of it, or indeed come and get involved and want to know, what do I do now? Well, the answer is in thisisitteam.com. There's an onboarding tab. There's a very simple duplicatable system that works. And if you're willing to learn that, be coachable, you too can develop a business that could be substantial and help thousands and thousands of people, which is amazing. So the final slide here, it's up to you now to make your move. Are you serious about your dream? There is hope for your future. I used to be reticent to talk about this, but actually that is the reality I've come to understand. There are people out there who don't have hope of improving their well-being and are suffering. And there are people that have lost hope in relation to moving their life forward and achieving life goals. Networking, and particularly networking with X39, is a path, a proven path to achieve our goals. So that's what we wanted to cover in the presentation today. Thank you for joining and spending the time. I'm going to stop the recording here, and we will just take a few questions if there are any. But thanks again. And for those who came to share their testimonies, appreciate your support.